Yeah. Hmm? I miss you too, baby. I am Professor Hasskreidt, and you are not. Today, Mr. Gottschalk asked me to discuss the concept of slope. He said that it was covered in the 8A class and to some extent the 7A class. And in fact, really, it's going to be covered in all of the classes. Pardon me. Okay. Slope refers to how steep a line is. In all classes, the concept of linear equations is being discussed. And the slope of a line helps to describe a given line. Let's say, for example, we were looking at this line here. This is line B. And line B is much more flat. It has less slope than line A does. How does that differ? Or how does that change the way that line is? Well, let's look. Let's say that this is price. You can't see that, can you? Price and quantity. Now, if we look, for example, at line A, which shows that at a given price, let's say this is P1, there is a given quantity demanded, which is Q1. Okay, and we change the price a little bit. We raise it to P2, which raises the quantity demanded to Q2. Okay, so it has some impact. What if, for example, we did the same thing with line B? Let's say, and I use a dotted line, that's easier for. Let's say we change line B and we change its price by roughly the same amount. We see that a roughly equal change in the price for line B results in a much larger quantity changed. Why is that? Because the slope for line B is much flatter. That is the reason why we are discussing the concept of slope, because it changes, or it tells us something about the relationship between whatever variable is on the y-axis, the dependent variable, and whatever variable is on the x-axis. It tells us about the relationship. Okay, that is the reason why slope is important, because it tells us a lot about the relationship between these two variables. Okay, we see when the price changes somewhat on for line A, we get a change in quantity demanded. Whereas if we do a roughly equal change of price for line B, we get a much more dramatic change in quantity demanded because the slope is flatter. Okay? Now, how do we compute a slope? It's muy fácil. It's very easy. Slope. M. I have been asked many times, why does M stand for slope? It does not follow. Pardon me. I don't know. Okay, ever since Gottschalk was a kid, M stood for slope. Ever since I was a kid, and I'm considerably older than Gottschalk, M stood for slope. Just trust me on that. M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, now how do we get these? Simple. We get our line. Oh, you can't see that. And we take any 2 points on the line. Doesn't matter where it is. Any 2 points. Okay. Let's say this is 1, 3. And this line is, this point is 5, 7. Here's point 1, here's point 2. Point 2, its coordinates are 5, 7. We all know that the first coordinate is the x-coordinate and the second coordinate is the y-coordinate. By the way, could we choose this as our point 2 and this is our point 1? Yes, we could. But I'm setting this up now so we don't have to worry about negative numbers yet, because not everybody's secure with negative numbers yet, from what I'm told. Okay, so what is what? This, since this is our point 2, this will be y2. And since it's our point 2, that will be x2. So the y2 is 7, the x2 is 5. Likewise, the coordinate for point 1, the y-coordinate will be y1, and the x-coordinate will be x1. Now that we have our points, all we have to do is plug and chug. M equals y2, which is 7, minus y1, which is 3, divided by x2, which is 5, and x1, which is 1. 7 minus 3 equals 4. 5 minus 1 equals 4. 4 divided by 4, we all know that any number divided by itself is 1. So our slope equals 1. What does that mean? What it means is that for every one step that this line goes up the vertical axis, it goes one step to the right on the x-axis. Okay? It's a measurement, a quantification of the slope of this line. One more time. As we move up 1 unit on the y-axis, for this particular line, since it has a slope of 1, we also move 1 space, 1 unit to the right on the x-axis. Okay, up 1 on y, over 1 on x. Let's look at others. If, for example, m were to equal 3/8, that would mean that for every 3 steps on the y-axis that we went up, we would go 8 steps on the x-axis. Okay? So what do we need to remember? We need to remember the formula for slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? We should know how to plot numbers on the coordinate plane. Most of you already know this. Okay? But you can take any 2 points on that line. Let's say this is 1, 1, and this is 5, 6. And if they're on the same line, you can just go ahead and connect them. And that line will have been graphed. Any questions? Of course, you know, you may email me at Hasskreidt. Gotta make this lowercase. At gmail.com. Whoops. Com. Okay. I have to get on my motorcycle and get home to watch the Bears. Have a good Sunday.